let's talk about the recent demand notice served on companies whose accounts are under LIEN. We did click on the link and found that 19,000 plus companies are involved. How come such a huge number escaped the tax net?
Well, let me first of all explain why we have this huge number. When this government came into office, I think it was, or it is, a listening government. They gave them the opportunity to come forward on their own. In 2016, before FIRS, we had a tax amnesty, which we waived interest and penalty for all that came forward. During that period, a little over 3,000 came forward, and they paid about 92 billion. Thereafter, shortly after that, we launched FIRS with the Minister of Finance, which also included individuals. And globally, we had a declared assessments equally of almost the same figure of 92 billion, out of which 72 billion has been paid so far. Now, also during that period, the tax database increased from 10 million to 20 million. And I believe some of the high net worth operators of these accounts maybe thought that nothing would happen if they didn't come out. But during that period where we gave them the opportunity to come forward on their own, our hands were sort of tied. I mean, if government says, come forward and we're giving you 6 months or 9 months, we can't start enforcing people, yes. And so immediately that FIRS expired, we did have a meeting with stakeholders to let them understand that we do have information and that we'll be processing with a LIEN on their bank accounts. And that is exactly what we have started.
What are you going to do to those companies?
Well, what the Act actually does say is that apart from putting a LIEN on those accounts, the balances that are deemed to be tax liabilities should be swept straight to the Federation accounts. And that is the next step that we'll take. We are, I believe, part of a listening government, a government that would give the citizens and the business community the opportunity to come and do the right thing. Because if this had happened in any European or American country, I can assure you that those operators will be behind bars by now. But I think letting people realize that we do have information, we do have the names of the owners of these accounts, and letting them understand the law. Because sometimes people who do not understand the implications of what they're doing, believing that there are limited consequences or no consequences at all, tend to behave this way. So I think now the Nigerian public realizes the consequences, and those people who are in the lower income group, those who work in government organizations where the taxes are deducted directly from their income, will now feel better that they're not left just to suffer the burden, or those compliant companies within the business sector who are feeling shortchanged. When I say shortchanged, by their competitors not paying taxes, will now realize that everyone has a level playing field when it comes to the payment of taxes.
When you say the individuals linked to these companies are liable, do you have any cover under the law?
That's what I said in the publication. We stated a section of the Act, and the last part of it says it will be deemed as if they themselves in their personal account.
Section 49, subsection 2, A to D of that Act, you can produce to enforce the payment of the said tax against all the directors, managers, secretaries, and every other person concerned in the management of the companies, and require the said tax from such persons without further notice. The government needs money. You are the revenue generator, number one revenue generator. So what are you going to do at the FIRS to come to the rescue?
Well, we're going to continue to expand the tax net. Hopefully, before the end of September, that tax database should grow from 20 million to close to 45 million. And that certainly would have an impact on revenue, both at the federal and the state levels.